Hello, Rich Merritt here with Digital Combustion, and today we're going to talk about adding a video background. We get a lot of questions about this, and sometimes people think it's a lot more complicated than it actually is as far as using video in your background, but it really isn't too hard. There's just a few differences between adding a static background and a video background that I'll talk about, and then a little bit about how you actually shoot the video. The first thing you're going to need to do is figure out what video format you're going to want to put in to Fire Studio, and it's a really good question, and there's a lot of different answers, but the simple part of the answer is if you're on a Mac, it's actually a little easier just because you can do a QuickTime movie or an MPEG-4, and those will come up and play just perfectly, usually without any other interventions. If you're on a Windows machine, you're going to need to go for an AVI, which is the Windows standard file, and try to just get the most basic type of AVI files. You'll need to make sure that whatever video you're using, you have that actual codec on your machine all ready to play. And there are plenty of tutorial videos on just video codecs, and so I'm not going to go into that right now. But in the Windows world, you are going to have to make sure that you've got a video that will play, and you'll have to maybe do a couple tests and make sure those don't need to be converted. We've got our empty simulation right here, and I'm going to go ahead and add a video background to this. So normally you'd go to the library and you'd look for a background and pick one from over here and then add it to the screen. Well, video is handled a little differently because it's kept separately from just the static backgrounds. And a couple reasons for that is one, it just takes a lot more resources to run a video, and so it's kept separate. And then also it does not get exported if you export your simulation. As you know, when you export your simulation, it'll take all your custom layers, backgrounds, and things like that. What it won't take is any custom video backgrounds that you have. And the reason for that is because they can be really large. And so if you were trying to export a simulation, you'd have these giant library files, which would be really hard to move around. And so it's kept separate. And just know that if you have a video background in your simulation, you'll need to manually copy that video clip to the other computers to make sure that it'll play. Let's go ahead, and if you look to the left of our screen here, we've got the load video button. So when I click that, I'm on a Mac on this particular demo, so we can take a QuickTime movie, an MOV file, or also an MPEG-4, which this one is. And those MPEG-4s are nice because they're much smaller than a QuickTime movie. So they've got a lot more compression on it, but they do a good job and still look pretty good. So let's go ahead and open that up. And so now you can see I've got this video clip, and take a look on how it's shot for one. So we've got the whole building in the scene. We've got cars moving, and we've got plenty of room. And I've actually shot probably a little further back than I needed to on this one. But it also, if you have some of the higher resolution cameras, it'll allow you to crop it, and you can maybe crop it once you get back to the station and you want to make it a little smaller. But I just went ahead and left this one as is, just for this video. The main thing you have to remember when shooting video is that it must be shot from a tripod, so the camera cannot move at all. A lot of people are confused that they think they can show a pull-up shot, by putting the camera in the rig and then placing the smoke and fire on the screen. But just remember, the smoke and fire, those layers are not going to move, and so the video background cannot move also. So here you can see the way I've shot this is it's really a short video clip. I think it's about 12 seconds. And what it is I started the video where there was no traffic and then ended it where there was no traffic, and then I just set it to loop. So if we go up on our window layer here, you can see this one's called HB Street. And if I click to edit that, there's only a few things you can do. You can change the color, hue, and the color that's being cast on it. But the only other thing, if you go to the resource, it defaults to being a looped video. And most of the time that's what you're going to want to do. The time where you'd want to uncheck that would be is if you had a video where you recorded maybe a witness coming up and saying something about who was trapped in there, or maybe it's a face-to-face report from another officer that you wanted to use that video clip, in which case you'd probably turn that loop off because you'd want it to just stop. And then depending on how your video volume came up when you recorded it, it defaults to 100, which is full volume. You may need to kick that back a little bit less if it's too loud, and that's really all you need to do. So if I click finish editing, so now we're on that video, and that's all you need to know. So what I did let's just take a couple things If you look here at this line where these cars are coming through, if you put a piece of smoke or fire or something on there, a layer, let's go ahead and just take a smoke column and put it on there. What's going to happen is the car is going to go behind the layer, and so that's not going to work. So there's a couple different ways you can go about this. If you have everything up high, you know, like maybe you're going to just have smoke coming out of these windows, then it's fine. There's nothing you have to do. But maybe if you wanted to have it coming down off this bottom floor, all we have to do is we can use one of our masks, and that'll actually mask off whatever you need, so that those cars, now the smoke's going to be behind the cars, or they just you won't see it, so it's masked off. So that's pretty handy, that you can use that masking tool even on a video clip. So let me go ahead and go to another window that I've done here, and so I've already put a lot of smoke and fire on this scene, so you can see you can make it look pretty nice. If we go to present mode, that's when you can actually hear the sound of the cars and whatever the sounds that we have. Let me go back into author mode. A couple things that I'll just point out here. I added a lot of smoke and fire. Here's some ambient smoke, you know, just to kind of give it. We've got some smoke coming out of this balcony, heavy smoke and fire coming out of here. And as you can see, this street light, which was on the screen on that original video backdrop, I went ahead and just made a piece of clip art. I did a screen capture of it, and then I cut out that. Let me just show you right here. I cut out the street light so that I could put that back in the scene, and now I have my smoke and fire behind it. So it does give it a little bit more depth, and it makes sense when you shoot to be able to either avoid having to do that based on where you take your picture, or if you do have some Photoshop skills and you can quickly make a piece of clip art, you can set that right in front. And that goes for both video backdrops and stills. If you have a picture where there's something in front that you can actually create a piece of clip art, you can then just add that clip art on top of it, and then that gives you another layer to work with. Other thing that you want to notice is I tried to find a place where there was no wires going across here. There are some, if you look on the right, that street's got a lot of wires, and so you don't want to take a video where you've got this great looking scene and you've got cars going in front and whatever you want to do, and then you've got all these wires, because it's just impossible to mask out those individual wires. So keep that in mind when you take some shots. Hopefully this helps you if you're thinking about using video as backdrop in your Fire Studio 6 simulations. If you have any other questions, there's some more tutorials on our website, and I'm going to go ahead and post this one shortly on our members only area so that you'll be able to download this video and play with it if you don't have any video clips of your own. So I hope this video was helpful. This is Rich Merritt with Digital Combustion. Thanks for watching.